Is that better? Oh yes, so much better. Amazing. Anyways. Do you like making fun of grown-ass baby men who have way too much time on their hands and don't spend enough money on hair product? I know. That was cheap and unnecessary. Balding is a completely natural thing, and there is nothing funny about bodily autonomy that one cannot control. Is what I would say if the people that I'm talking about weren't horrible people, and weren't also making fun of people for bodily autonomy they cannot control. But you're not just here to have me make fun of grown-ass baby toddler men. You want to know what the other half of this video title is. Yes, you read that right. I will be turning alpha males into anime twinks. Thus the title. You read it. You clicked on the video. Unless you didn't read it, you just saw my face and went, ooh! That's fine too. So you may know or may not know, I have this little series on my channel where I turn pretty much anything I want into a J-idol group. It could be an actual person, it could be an actual event, it could be literally just an idea. And it gets turned into a pretty J-idol group. And also, I'm a huge fucking weeb. So for today's episode, we'll be delving into the soci-sexual hierarchy. Yes, that is an actual chart. Yes, that is a thing that you're going to hear a lot throughout this video. And unfortunately, I hate it. And so should you. It's horrible. And I hate it. AKA, I'm literally just turning alpha males, sigma males, beta males, omegas, and gamma males into an idol group. Except, I decided to take another step to make it a little bit more interesting. A little bit more intriguing, if you will. I will be taking the elements that make like an alpha male or a beta male, a sigma, whatever, and I'll be comparing them and kind of mixing them in with a certain anime archetype that you may know as dere archetypes. The dere archetypes are pretty much just how a character is romantically involved with another character, or how they go about love and affection for characters. You may know as tsundere or yandere. There's a whole bunch of different charts of them. If you've been on Tumblr, or if you happen to just look up anime archetypes, you probably saw this chart. So I will be turning these alpha males, beta males, blah 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 blahs, into certain anime archetypes, and then those anime archetypes will be turned into an idol group. So we're going to get a little bit of this, and a little bit of this, and a lot of this, and then we're going to put it in my little pot, and we're going to stir it about, and then we have soup. Is it good soup? I don't know, that's up to you. Now, why did I choose to do a dere archetype? Well, it kind of goes into idol groups themselves. See, a big factor of idol fan bases is this kind of idea of romanceability and sexual intimacy with a performer that you're interested in. Now again, this is not just an idol thing, you just happen to see it more in idol groups, but you can also see it within host clubs, maid cafes, strip clubs, boy bands, hell, even some content creators have this type of persona where you feel that you could romantically be involved with them. And that's a part of it. Now you may think this is bad, and you may find that that's a lie, and that they shouldn't push this idea of romanceability for whatever media that they're a part of. But to me, I say that's just kind of part of the job. They're performers, and they want to be able to perform to certain people. And an appeal for a lot of these certain jobs and certain groups and certain content is through the idea that one person could be romantically involved with them. My thing is, as long as you're able to differentiate the difference between a performer and a performance, then it's all safe and good. But when those two start to kind of cumulate and you kind of can't tell the difference anymore, that's, yes, when it can become a problem. But generally, the rule of thumb should be performers are different from their performances. So with that long-winded explanation, let me tell you what happened in my little brain. My little crazy little brain, what I came up with. So I need to make these alpha males and blah 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 romanceable. Make them more appealing to a fictional audience. Again, this is all fictional, this is a joke, please don't take this seriously. I'm not trying to actually make these people interested in romantically, that's disgusting. This is fantasy, it's a fictional world. So I'm taking this idea of making these characters, is what we're going to call them, that's practically what they are, romanceable. But then another image came to me. A reverse harem. What a reverse harem is you may have seen this in an anime where a bunch of men flaunt over a girl and the girl gets to kind of choose which man she wants to date. A normal harem revolves a man and then a bunch of women trying to date him. So reverse harem is just, it's the female gets to choose now, and has a bunch of boys who want to date her. Great. Are we caught up? We ready to go? Alright, let's go. First, actually, I need to lay some ground rules, as I'm sure there's becoming a theme in my video. First off, this whole ideology of like being an alpha male or whatever is actually very new. The earliest record I could find was in the 70s, which even then, scarce, I don't really consider that. Someone just mentioned alpha male wolves, and that's kind of where it comes from. But this idea of being an alpha male and categorizing other people as betas and omegas is actually still a pretty new thing, which means that there's not a lot of unbiased research. It's either I read a bunch of Reddit posts by so-called pickup artists and these alpha males and listening to a bunch of male podcasts, or I watch a bunch of videos with people talking shit on those people. I usually take part in that part of the content. Great, disclaimer out of the way. Now you might be wondering why the hell I keep saying soci-sexual hierarchy. I explained it a little bit in the beginning of the video, but let me explain a little bit more now. The soci-sexual hierarchy is a concept made by Theodore Robert Bell, or better known under his gamer tag, Foxday. He's a far right-wing activist and an American writer. You don't need to read any of his books. They're stupid. The mere mention of any of his book titles does make my brain want to jump out of my head. This triangular chart is specifically made for cisgendered heterosexual men to be classified under social status, attractiveness, and mating habits. Yes, we'll be hearing mating a lot when referring to sexual attraction or romanceability or literally anything involving dating. Because for some reason, these grown-ass men have the scientific understanding of an edgy middle schooler who just learned about biology. If I have to explain the difference between animals and humans, that's on you, fam. I'm not going into that, alright? It's common sense. Moving on. Pretty much the socio-sexual hierarchy chart are the building blocks for this group of sub-people. Sub-people? That is what they are. Sub-people. Gotta get some water for the bullshit I'm about to explain. Now that we got everything out of the way, let's go ahead and start with our leading man. Unfortunately, yes, I wrote that. The alpha males. Alpha males are at the top of the socio-sexual hierarchy chart. Their characteristics are strong leadership, highly attractive, dominant, influential, and desirable among men. No, I didn't say that wrong. Desirable among men. Yes, this is in fact a male-powered fantasy. Men are subjected to advertising about body images, financial success, emotional stability, relationships, just as much as women are. The only difference is that men have a hard time coming to terms with this information. Because that's sissy shit. Apparently. But according to the article that I read, alpha males should be in tune with their emotional selves. They should be socially aware and should be able to have a more diverse understanding of the world. Alpha males who seem to have an issue with talking about their feelings and being closed-minded and find anything feminine appalling have been dubbed to have an alpha complex. These are the loudmouth, hard-headed, sex-driven, cocky, arrogant, narcissistic alpha males. Now before you start thinking that maybe alpha males aren't actually that bad and maybe they're just a few bad apples, let's just dive into this socio-sexual hierarchy for a moment. All the positive things that true alpha males do are just normal, healthy things people do. You don't need a fancy little title to go to therapy or just to be a good partner. Now, I personally have no issues with labels. I use labels all the time, specifically more for myself, as it helps me feel more in control of my very chaotic life, and also makes me feel like I have a community to go to. Hello, Johnny, come back. Issue is when it becomes your entire personality. So now you're starting to notice people who specifically identify themselves as alpha males openly, which is mostly all of them. I'm pretty sure all of them do. They make it their entire personality just to be an alpha male. Then something else I would like y'all to remember about this little socio-sexual hierarchy chart is how it's ranked. You remember how I said it's social status, attractiveness, and mating habits? Who do you think is going to be at the top of that chart? It's going to be the loudest and most obnoxious people of the group. The people who people are going to look at. Why? Because they have a social status. They are able to have influence over a large group of people. Which also means that they somehow are able to get dates. I don't know how these men get dates. Couldn't tell you. So even if you are a good alpha male and you don't follow these types of loudmouth ideologies, The people that are at the top of the chart are the people that you're supposed to be looking up to. Because the chart that y'all made put them there. So you're a part of a broken, corrupted system. ACAB. Oh wait, how would you say? Also, all alpha males. Oh, you just be AMAB, huh? So let's now turn the alpha males into a basic bitch. So the archetype that I went with for alpha males is the Dore archetype. Yes, just Dore. It just means loving type. These characters who fit into this archetype are your standard romanceable types. There's nothing really special about them. They love the protagonist / PC, and they are a good safe bet for a romanceable partner. Why I chose the Dore archetype is because alpha males don't really have a personality or character aside from being an alpha male. They are bland and boring. And though they aren't dislikable, they don't really bring anything fun or interesting to the table. So why not archetype them as a basic bitch love interest? Now we're going to get into the designing aspect of this. As again, I'm a costume designer, and that's literally what I'm doing this series for, is to make a lovely portfolio piece. To start with the designs, there's going to be a standard silhouette and style. They're all going to be wearing tux-inspired suits. Suits are always a safe bet for male idol groups. It's just a clean look. With the amount of material, you can make it very fun and very movable. So a suit's always a safe bet. As well, most of the people that partake in the soci-sexual hierarchy are usually depicted in nice suits anyways, so it fits both themes. Something also standard within idol groups is that there's going to be a color associated with each character, which means the suits are going to be colored in that fashion. Also, where the bias is usually at on a suit, there is going to be glitter down the side of the legs and on the top of the shoulders and down the arms. I've also decided to add a fun lining on the inside of the coat, as I always find a fun lining to just be a good personality representation, and it's also just a fun little like flash. When they're dancing on stage, you just see a nice pattern within the suit, and I think that's a very interesting and fun thing to play with. And now I also wanted to kind of play with a royalty theme, because in my personal opinion, these men would consider themselves a part of a modern monarchy, just without all like the political power and stuff. They have large influence, they have a lot of sexual and romantic appeal, and as well they have a lot of money. So they have a lot of power, money, and leadership roles. Which means that I'm going to add elements of royalty within their type of structure and style. How I'm going to do this is I'm going to make the collar of the suit jackets very large, and I'm going to add very large cuffs as well, both going to be made out of velvet. The second part of this design is they will all have hair. Yes, I know it is not true to the source material, but standardly speaking, a romantic or romanceable character is typically depicted in anime with hair. So they're gonna get just standard anime hair. They will also have some type of accessory to showcase their symbol from which part of the socio-sexual hierarchy that they are a part of. Also, they will be wearing what I dub as penguin shoes. They are the black and white dress shoes that you may see in like jazz shows or on stage performances. I just find these shoes very fun and a very nice flash. And they kind of go with everything, so they don't really have to have like a nice black shoe or a nice brown shoe to go with whatever suit color I put them in. Okay, now that we got that, let's go ahead and get to the actual design of our alpha male. I've placed our alpha male into a blue suit, specifically more royal blue, as blue is a standard boy color and plays into the royalty role. Leaning into the royalty theme, I also showcase that within his lining, as this pattern represents a royalty-esque look to me, and I feel it is something that resembles royalty in its design. It also has red and gold on the inside, as he's one of the few people who has a different color pattern lining than the others, as it complements his red tie and gold clip. His white button-up is fully closed and tucked in. For physical appearance, it's going to be your boring, blonde hair, blue eyes. That's it. He's your basic safe option. He's attractive, but nothing exciting. Next on our lineup is the Sigma male. Now, depending on who you ask, the Sigma male is either right next to an alpha male or just under an alpha male. A Sigma male is everything that an alpha male is. They're confident, they take control, they're well-groomed, and they're good leaders. The main difference in a Sigma male is that they are an introvert and often described as self-centered, and will reach their goals no matter who they have to hurt or who they have to cut off. They typically follow their own rules and prioritize themselves over anyone else. They're considered the cold, bad boy of the hierarchy. Calm and collected, but slightly off-putting. And this is why I gave the Sigma male the Kudare archetype. This is a romantic archetype that is quiet, shy, and mature. They may not say much and at times may seem rude, but with enough time and patience, they will show you a loving, caring side. And like a rose, if one is to take care of it and nurture it, one can avoid its thorns and take pleasure in its delicate beauty and floral scent. I am describing a flower, and not a grown-ass man. I have his button-down shirt slightly open and a choker displayed around his neck, once more pushing a bad boy aesthetic. I have him dressed in a purple suit, as it's not quite a complementary color to blue, but it is in the similar area of blue, and it's kind of, in my opinion, a darker cool tone, again emphasizing that dark, mysterious side of him. His lining is a floral brocade, again tying back into that royalty theme, but instead of a young, happy-go-lucky prince look, we're going for the dark, mysterious loner prince who hides in his own tower. His dark, cool eyes that could be seen framed by his pale purple shoulder-length hair. This is your mysterious bad boy, who deep down has a tender heart, eager to love. But he will probably dump you if you annoy him even in the slightest. Moving along, we get to the infamous, submissive and breedable soy boys. Betas. Unless you self-proclaim yourself as a beta, then that is not at all what a beta is. Honestly, that's the most bottom-ass behavior I've ever heard. Betas are the second in command to the alpha. They are the support and the hype man. Also, the best friend and voice of reason. I mean, sure. If that's what you want to proclaim a beta is, if that's what you feel, I'm not going to say no. But, like, most people don't consider that what a beta is in the large scheme of things. So, since our babyface Twink is a hype man, I decided to lean into it by choosing to make him a Megadore. This is an archetype where the romantic character is a little overzealous about their affection. They are loud and proud that they love their partner and that they support and protect you no matter what. They are also definitely a simp. So to complement our alpha male of the group, I gave our little bottom-coated idol an orange palette, as it is literally a complementary color to blue on the color wheel. It is also a very playful and happy color, which leans into the starry-eyed anime Twink personification. Speaking of stars, his lining is decorated with stars, and is a complement to his yellow bow tie along with a beta symbol bow tie clip. I also chose to give him shorts, as it adds to the youthful, playful look that I'm playing with. As well, historically speaking, younger princes would wear shorts as a sign of youth, and it was a maturity status if they wore pants. For appearances, a shaggy curly head of auburn hair, purple eyes, and a freckled face, once more enhancing that youthful, playful appearance. Our little beta boy will show you so much love and affection, maybe a little bit too much, and will probably never leave your side, ever. Listen, you might need some personal space, and he's definitely going to be a little bit too clingy. Now, technically speaking, there is another slot on the chart that is called the Delta chart. Delta just literally means any working man. So you're not even tied into the socio-sexual hierarchy chart. You just are some guy who works. You're just a guy who just goes to the job and does your job. That's what a Delta is. So I felt like, one, that's too broad of a scheme. And two, they're not really people who even take part in the socio-sexual hierarchy chart. So why the hell would I include them? So we're not including a Delta. So now we're just going to go straight to the next guy. Our next guy is going to be the Gamma male. Which sounds so bad when I say it like that. I think it's just because I'm Southern that it's combining, so it sounds gross. So, Gamma male. Originally, when I was pitching this idea, I was kind of worried that I wouldn't have enough members for a standard idol group size, so I was going to throw in nice guys to kind of like fill it out a little bit. Luckily, I didn't have to do that, because that's what Gamma males are. They're distant from society and people, especially women, and are extremely manipulative. Apparently, they are good leaders for jobs that require manipulative approaches. I don't know what jobs they're talking about, but if I work for a job that is purposely trying to manipulate me and hire someone to purposely manipulate me and the people who work under them, I don't want to work for that company. Sorry. And then I find out the guy's an incel? I'm burning the entire fucking building down. There's this bullshit belief that Gamma males have high testosterone and low estrogen, which makes them have anger and violent outbursts. Which again, I'm not a scientist, but I don't think that's how that works. Because as someone who is on hormone therapy themselves, doctors notice if your hormone levels are fluctuating. Cis people can go on hormone therapy just as much as a trans person can. So I presume that if this theory is true, that probably during puberty, a doctor would have noticed and recommended that he goes on some type of hormone therapy so then he doesn't become a violent member of society. Johnny, why did you leave? So what Dore archetype best describes this despicable excuse of a human being? It's a tsundere. Tsunderes are rude, angry, and often communicate through violence or bullying. If they are shown affection, they often become shy and embarrassed, and they usually will make fun of the person being romantically involved with them. But secretly, they really like the attention and are happy about the affection towards them. I put him in a green suit because I played with the idea of envy, and envy is oftentimes depicted as being green. Like tsunderes, gammas do seek approval from others and wish to fit into the society, but instead of making genuine connections, they choose to go on Reddit and trollbait people. But he's a nice guy after all, so his lining is scattered with hearts. And though a fedora was part of the original design, I thought it covered his face too much, so instead I chose to go with a Victorian-inspired pirate vampire button-down shirt. I don't know what those shirts are called, alright? Y'all don't know which ones I'm talking about. As it still reads into the royalty theme, and also reads, I'm chronically online and only know how to romance people through my dating games and through high fantasy novels that I read all the time. He has dark hair and has orange-brown eyes. Though tsunderes may seem interesting and fun to date in anime or dating sims, don't date these actual people in real life. It is super toxic and definitely not worth your fucking time. So finally, we've reached the Omega. Now I know when I say that, some of you degenerates out there think of Omegaverse. Unfortunately, that's not what we're talking about today. So how do I go about this without YouTube getting mad? So let's just start gentle. Omegas are introverted and difficult to be friends with or make connections with. They're unmotivated, lazy, close-minded, angry, mean, and overall a social reject. And I don't mean that by they don't fit into a normal society. I mean that they are the don't come to school on Monday type of people. You see where I'm going? Do I need to say what that means? If you're American, you know what that means. If you're not American, you still know what that means because you make fun of us for it. They are the lowest on the soci-sexual hierarchy chart. Okay, so it's getting a whole lot harder to find a way to place these guys into this, because how do I put a literal don't come to school on Monday type of personality into something romantical and attractive and, oh wait. Let's talk about kamadori. A kamadori is a god complex. Kamadoris are characters who literally are characterized themselves as gods, and they will put their wants and their needs over anyone else. They're arrogant and openly conceiting, and they definitely think everyone in the world is below them. They are narcissistic little shits that deserve nothing but spit upon their grave. So let's turn him into an anime twink! I've got him dressed in a red suit, as it oftentimes symbolizes aggression and violence. His lining is striped because it reminds me of a prison uniform, which is definitely where these types of people should go as they march down death row. He's the only one without a standard button-down, as instead I've replaced it with a hooded vest, because nothing says violent person in school setting like a hoodie. Other than that, the rest of his design is simple with dark hair and dark eyes. Do I need to hold up like a red flag for this one? Because if I do, that's a you issue, fam. I don't know how to fix that one, alright? I'm just a person who makes silly videos on YouTube. That sounds like a therapist is needed. Ladies, gentlemen, and all the gremlins in between, I now present to you the socio-sexual hierarchy idols! So this video was a lot of fun to make. I had to play with a lot of different genres and ideas and kind of personify them into a thing. And if the internet's taught me anything, it's totally okay to personify ideologies and large groups of people. All jokes aside, I do want to, again, reiterate, this is all a joke. This is all fun goofs. Anybody who personally identifies or identifies with the socio-sexual hierarchy and considers himself an alpha, a beta, omega, whatever, run. Run as fast as you can. They're not worth it. Especially if they're, like, above the age of 25. Maybe if they're younger, you might be able to, but also, you shouldn't have to. You shouldn't have to talk to people like that. Alright? It's exhausting, and you shouldn't need to. So, I've officially now turned a bunch of repulsive people into semi-attractive anime twinks. You're welcome. Except no one asked for this, so I don't know why I did it, actually. Alright, well, that's all. As per usual, do all the dumb YouTube stuff. And I gotta piss so bad. I swear at the end of every single one of these videos, I just gotta piss so fucking bad. Anyways, bye.